Why is it so hard to let go of a possession, even if you could even make a profit from it? Why do you become irrationally attached to an item that you're thinking of buying, but you don't even have it in your hands yet? What about that job opportunity that you couldn't stop thinking about, only to feel that crushing sense of disappointment when it didn't work out? Why do we act so irrationally in these situations? The answer lies in a fascinating cognitive bias known as the endowment effect. This powerful psychological phenomenon impacts our decision making in various aspects of our lives, from real estate transactions to online shopping and even the job market and personal experiences. Money Arata. Today we'll explain in a very clear way what the endowment effect is. Also, we will explore how it influences our thinking and our behavior in different scenarios. By understanding this cognitive bias, you will gain valuable insights that can help you to make smarter decisions, overcome emotional attachments, and basically navigate your personal and professional life with greater clarity. Now, attention, this is not financial advice. Please read the full disclaimer before proceeding. The endowment effect is a cognitive bias that makes us overvalue things we own. Now imagine that you're traveling abroad and you get into a store, you see a mug for sale at 10 bucks. You think it's a bit pricey, but still you like the design, you decide to buy it. Now, the next day you fly back home, then you receive an offer from someone who likes your mug and they want to buy your mug for 15. Surprisingly, you find it very hard to let go of that mug even though you could make a profit here. Why is that? It is the endowment effect in action. The endowment effect is a cognitive bias that makes us overvalue things we own. Once we possess something, we tend to value it more than if we didn't own it. And as a result, we might demand more money to give it up, and even if it exceeds the actual market value of the item. To be better at managing your money, you need to be aware of the endowment effect. When you're making your decisions about buying or selling items, you have to train yourself to assess the real value, the utility of the things that you own, and be more objective about how much you're willing to pay or accept as payment for these items. This awareness can help you to make smarter decisions about what you keep, what you can let go of. And just like this, there are many intelligence techniques that you can learn at arata.se/intelligence. Our thinking can be influenced by the endowment effect when we feel a sense of near ownership. If you're browsing an online auction site and you come across a limited edition action figure that you might be very excited about, this discovery, it's a very rare item and the bidding starts at 50. You might decide to participate. Now, as the bids increase, you become more and more attached to that action figure even though you haven't won the auction yet. Now you start to already imagine how it feels like to be the owner of that item. Finally, the bidding reaches 100. Now you find yourself unwilling to let someone else have that item, that somebody else to win it, even though you initially thought that 50 was already a pretty fair price. This is the endowment effect at play, also in the near ownership. That's right. We just learned that the endowment effect affects our perception of value when we already possess an item, but it is more than that. It can also influence our thinking when we have a sense of near ownership. Near ownership because when we believe that we're so close to acquiring that item, we have already invested our time, our effort into the pursuit of that item. The feeling of closeness that can make us overvalue this item. This causes us to pay more than we initially thought would be reasonable. Moreover, the endowment effect can also impact our decision-making in other areas of our lives, like relationships or job opportunities, or even ideas we've invested time and effort into developing. Our attachment to all these situations can make it very difficult to let go, to move on, even if doing so would be the more rational choice. The endowment effect is not just about physical possessions, it is also about experiences. When we book a trip, we often imagine all the types of adventures that we're gonna have, the sights we'll see, the memories we'll make. All these anticipated experiences create also a sense of near ownership, even though they haven't happened yet. If circumstances change and we're forced to cancel or change our plans, we might feel a strong sense of loss and disappointment due to this endowment effect. And this can later lead us to make hasty, emotionally driven decisions, for example, like booking a last minute and more expensive trip, even though it might not be the best choice financially or logistically. Similarly, in personal relationships, we might find ourselves to be more attached to a potential partner when we've already imagined a future together with that person. This near ownership of shared experiences can also make it more difficult to assess the compatibility, the potential challenges of that relationship in a more objective way. In our careers, the same thing. The endowment effect can impact the choices that we make when we are pursuing job opportunities or professional development. See, when we invest time, when we invest energy in a potential career path, we might become attached to the imagined outcomes and we can overvalue that opportunity. And this can result in overlooking other potentially better suited alternatives. Some of the biggest financial transactions that we make are in the real estate market, so please be careful with the endowment effect. At some point in your life, you might consider selling your childhood home, where you spent so many happy years and you created cherished memories. You might find it very challenging to set a fair price for that property, as the sentimental value that you attach to it can lead you to overestimate its worth. Now, on the other hand, as a buyer, you might encounter different types of sellers who seem to be asking a lot more for a house than it apparently seems to be worth, simply because that house holds sentimental value for them. This is the endowment effect at play in the housing market, where the emotional attachment that we have to a property can cloud our judgment of the true value of the property. So if you are a seller, try to obtain some objective information, objective valuation. You have to consult with real estate professionals. You have to use online tools and compare your property to similar ones in your area. This will all give you a more accurate, unbiased sense of the real market value. Also, make a conscious effort to separate your emotions from the selling process. You have to acknowledge your emotional attachment to the property, but also remind yourself that potential buyers won't have the same sentimental connection. See, for example, that wall you marked with pencil the height of your children growing up. Well, for the buyer, that is dirt that they will have to clean. So basically, sentimental value has only value for you. You have to focus on the property's real physical attributes and the location when you're setting your price. Now, if you're a buyer, you also need to have objective information. So please do your research. Before making an offer, you have to research the local market and compare that property to other properties in the area, and then you can get a better understanding of the true value so you don't get influenced by the emotional perspectives and stories of that buyer. And most importantly, be ready to walk away. If you feel that the seller's asking price is inflated due to some type of a sentimental attachment, don't be afraid to walk away from the deal. There will be other properties available that may offer you better value, a fair price. Our career choices can be affected by the endowment effect. When you are searching for a new job and then you come across a nice opportunity, you can submit your application, but sometimes, most times actually, you don't hear back from the employer and you feel disappointed, but that is normal, right? Now imagine a different scenario. You go and you apply for the same job. Then you go through several rounds of interviews. You make it to the final stage of the selection process. Now, you already start to imagine how it feels like to be working there. Now, this time, when you receive the rejection, your disappointment feels much more intense, even though the outcome, the actual outcome in both cases is the same. You didn't get the job. But this increased emotional response can be now attributed, you understand, by the endowment effect now in the job market. In this example, once again, we have the sense of near ownership. We feel like we possess that job already when we are advancing through the selection process. The more time, the more effort we invest in pursuing a position, the more attached we become to the idea of working there. And this attachment can lead us to overvalue the opportunity and also experience a heightened sense of disappointment when it doesn't work out, even if the actual loss is basically the same as in the first scenario. We never even heard back, we never progressed beyond the initial submission of our application. So when you are interviewing for jobs, remind yourself that the job market is competitive, rejection is a natural part of the process. Don't let near ownership to cloud your judgment. And you have to recognize that might be other suitable, even better opportunities out there. And make sure to diversify your job search. Apply to multiple job openings. This can help you to avoid becoming overly attached to that single opportunity. This approach can also increase your chances of finding a position that aligns with your skills and interests. The endowment effect is a powerful cognitive bias, but you can overcome it using your intelligence. To overcome the endowment effect and make smarter decisions, you can consider these top 4 practical actions. Number 1, think more clearly. Recognize when the endowment effect might be influencing your thinking, and you have to strive to separate your emotions from your decision making, whether it is about buying something or selling or pursuing opportunities. Number 2, you have to research and compare. You need to have access to good information. And you also need to know how to use that information. So that's why I'm talking here about our Intelligence Arata Academy, our training that you can have interactive activities with us so you can become sharper at using information in a more strategic way. You can visit arata.se/intelligence to start right now. Before making decisions, you have to research the market, you have to compare all the similar items, all the similar opportunities to gain a better understanding of their true value, so then you're less likely to overvalue them. Number 3 is the idea of reflecting on your goals and your values. You have to evaluate how well each item or opportunity or decision aligns with your long-term objectives, and you have to focus on the aspects that truly matter to you. And finally, idea number 4, you have to diversify your options. You have to avoid becoming overly attached to a single item, a single opportunity. You have to explore various alternatives. This approach can help you to have a more informed decision-making process. It will prevent you from overvaluing that single option because of this near ownership effect. By understanding the endowment effect and applying these practical actions, you can navigate your personal and professional life with greater clarity. You can make more rational decisions and ultimately lead a more balanced and fulfilling life. Being aware of the endowment effect and how it can impact both ownership and near ownership situations can lead you to have a more rational decision-making process. And by recognizing the role that emotions play in our perceptions of value, we can make better and smarter choices in various aspects of our lives. So if you want to have techniques and training on how to think more clearly, you can start right now by visiting arata.se/intelligence.